This is Straight Up with Toby Martini. I am Toby Martini, and on this show, we talk about a few different things. What it's like to be an entrepreneur, how do you be in business today, sometimes the psychology of what's behind it. How do you be successful? How do you make more money? Let's go find out. Hi, everybody. It's Toby Martini. Welcome to the big show. What's it called, Zach? It's called Straight Up with Toby Martini. That's right, it is. All right, so today, I got to tell you, man, I rushed in here today at the last minute. I just flew into this chair. I don't even know what's going on in this place. There's a lot of hubbub going on. So anyway, today, I decided in the last minute that I had a choice of things I was going to talk about today. And thing is, I'm writing a book. I'm actually technically writing two books. My first book is called The Connected Center, and it's about networking, mostly just about small business networking locally. You know, in your own hometown, going to chambers of commerce and networking clubs like that. And it's very weird. One thing is, I found in recent times that most big cities aren't networking as well as Tampa is. I mean, I don't always think of Tampa as the most urbane of cities, but it's a big city. It's growing and it's doing good. But one of the things we're pretty much known for, outside of, I guess, death metal and strip clubs, is networking. There's a lot of networking groups. And it's different than even in New York City or Chicago, someplace like that, where maybe they have chambers of commerce and they have BNI. BNI is huge around the world. But outside of those sort of things, there's not a lot of other clubs or networking, I don't know what you call it, a company, but that have various groups that meet. But here in Tampa Bay area, there's at least, 4 or 5 big clubs, big groups like Free Networking International, Tampa Bay Networkers. There's one called PMI, but I'm not sure what that stands for. There's PIN, Partners in Networking, RGA. And all of those have at least 3, 4, 7 different meetings that meet at different times, different hours of the day. And so there's a big networking thing going on here in Tampa. And I think at first, right, because that's where I am, that's where I'm living, that's how it is everywhere. But I'm finding out in a lot of other big cities, it's not as big. And it could be and should be. So I'm writing this book to help people figure out how do you navigate those waters. How do you get your message clear? How do you say that well? How do you not be pitchy? How do you connect with people and help them meet the right people? And then in return as well, we hope that they'll help you connect with the right people too. And I guess I'm going to add a part of it to be maybe if in your town there aren't networking groups, how do you start one? How do you run that? And not every piece of it, but a little bit. And I only thought of that today that, maybe people who read this or hear me talk might say, oh, that sounds great, but there aren't networking groups like that locally to me. Start one, right? Then, even faster, you get to be the connected center of your community because you get to be the person who's known for networking, who's known for putting people together, for bringing people together. So I think it's very valuable. Most of the people I know who are out there networking, who've done it for a significant amount of time, who've done it for a year or two, those are the best, right? Because that's how it works. That's how you make networking work for you, is you do it a year or 2 or 5 or 14. You need to continue to do it. It's a long play kind of game. Networking isn't, I will go networking these 3 times and get 20 customers. You probably won't get any in 1, 2, 3 times. And some people say, I don't have that much time to invest in that. I need to, what do they say? I need to eat only what I kill. So you got to go do sales immediately. If you're going to go spend an hour or 2, you better get a client or 2. I get it. But for me right now, I don't, right, as I mentioned here in the past, I still actually do run a web company, but I don't really talk about it too much. I don't mention it when I'm networking. I don't really do anything with that, but I get calls, right? I get 5, 6, 8 calls every month from somebody going, I saw you at a networking meeting, or somebody recommended me to you because I saw him in a networking meeting. And there's a band moving in here to the building next to me, so that's what all that musical ruckus is. But so networking is a long play. It's it works. It's kind of like farming in that you put it out there, you put in the seeds, you put in the work, and over time you start reaping rewards, and it doesn't happen very fast. So that's a little longer than I wanted to talk about the regular networking thing. And today I'm going to talk about this kind of Uber networking, the extra networking that you could do. And if there's not networking groups near you, you don't have meetings to go to, well, you can do these things that I'm going to talk about today. And I just call it everyday connections. Things you should schedule to put in every day to do at least a couple of these every day. I think there's 5 or so. And we're going to talk about those everyday connections right after I do say I'm getting to be a radio guy. I have to do our sponsors. So, hi, Chris. How are you today? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, but I'm not all there, you know.
Oh, yeah. All right. There's my producer, Chris. Thanks for being here, making the show happen.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. All right. So before we do the regular content of the day, we're going to talk about our sponsors, because without having sponsors, maybe this show doesn't happen. So my sponsors are New Urban Suites, which is a super cool little office space. Super cool office space that's in Ybor. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, that's a good, fairly central area to be in. And like I always say, if you're working at home, you're happy with your little working in my office, I get to work in my PJs. I got to tell you, you're kind of doing it wrong. I get that you're saving money, but getting out to an office where you have to dress up a little bit and interact with people, your energy will be different. You'll talk to people differently on the phone, and it'll be better for your business. So New Urban Suites is a good choice. You can check them out at newurbansuites.com. And other sponsor who I need to talk to is Score, and especially the Score in Pinellas County. And I really like them. I do workshops for Score as well. And Score helps small business folks answer any questions they might have, figure out what their next steps are. If you just got an idea, they help you get into business. If you're in business and you're stumbling with something, they can help you with that. And they're at pinellascounty.score.org. And you can connect with them, set up a schedule where you can meet with a counselor or a mentor. I don't know how often you can do that, but it's free, and they'll find somebody who is an expert at what you need done. And that's cool. And then there's resources, and they do workshops and such, so check them out. You can also do your counseling live or on the phone or even through email. You can ask a question or two and just get responses. That might be all some people need, but it's all free. It's a great resource, sponsored by the SBA, Small Business Administration. So it's a government-funded program, I guess. All right, so that's the sponsors. They're lovely. Interact with them. Send them money. You don't even have to send Score money. That's the bonus. So what I'm going to tell you today is a little bit about everyday connections. So like I said, networking is great. It's so good for you. You should probably check that out and do that. Create a group if there isn't one. But if there isn't a formal networking set up, one thing you might do is, like I have it like it's this meta networking, it's this beyond networking sort of thing, is I'll give you the overview is you want to interact with your current customers, anybody who's bought from you. You don't want to interact with your raving fans, the people who like you the most, the people who've already given you testimonials and talk about you. You want to connect with your strategic partners that you have and strategic partners that you want to have, right? Those right there would be enough. And then the last bit, it's a little bit of a catch-all, but I honestly do not know where I got this term, but it's loose connections. There's these loose connections that you can foster. And we'll talk about those 5 things a little bit. And the first one is connect with your customers. I think every business book in the world, most any business advisor or consultant will tell you that it's a little bit smarter and cost effective to go back to the customers who've already bought from you and get them to buy again. That's easier, more profitable, and more efficient than it is to go get a new customer. That's why you should always treat your customers very well. This is kind of a basic business thing. I think most people really get this. But consider contacting and connecting with your customers even if you're not trying to upsell them. I'll tell you one thing that's super valuable to do is contact your customers and make sure they're using what you sold them or what you taught them. Make sure they're using it, because often for example, in the speaker world, if somebody comes to a workshop and they learn, 10 things, and if you called them in a week or two, they're probably using 1 or 2, if at all, right? But in a few months, that might have all gone away. Maybe they're using 1, but the rest went away. That works if you sell somebody a DVD program or some video series where you train them. Contact them a week or two later and go, hey, did you get to look at it? Here's an important point I want to make sure you got out of it. Something like that. Make sure they're using the product so that they get the benefit that you've promised, and then they can become a raving fan. Because too often people will go to a seminar or they'll buy a program or they'll read a book. They go, those are great ideas. And they don't implement and it goes away. And then if somebody says, well, how was that program? And they go, yeah, I guess it was pretty good. It's only pretty good because they didn't do the work. They didn't use the thing. And so that's a good way to reach out to a customer because you're not upselling them. You're not doing anything mean to them. You're helping them get the result that they tried to buy in the first place, right? So connect with your customers and make sure they're using the thing. Give them a tip. If you have a product, even if it's something simple you think people know, say you sell a knife, right? Well, everybody knows how to chop and whatever, but you send them an email or a little video on, the fast, easy way to cut garlic or a different way to, make a pretty, like carving a watermelon in a neat design like an animal or something like that. That's kind of interesting. It's different. And they'll go, oh, I never thought to do that. That's another way I get to use that product. Then they're happier about the product, right? And I don't care what your product is. It's an interesting thing to do. If you had an air conditioning company, you came in and you did some service on my air conditioner. If you called me next month and go, hey, change your filter. Just want to make sure your air conditioner is working good for you. And by changing your filter, it'll last longer and we won't have to come in as much. I like that. You gave me that tip. You helped me do my preventative maintenance, even at your own cost, right? Because if I don't replace the filters, I'm going to have to call you sooner than later, right? And so now I like you as a company better. And I'm going to use your services continuously. I'm going to be a fan. And if anybody needs an air conditioner person, I'm going to recommend you because you're honest and helpful and nice, right? So connect with your current customers and don't just try to upsell them all the time. Don't keep trying to upsell the people. Yes, you will have upsells, but this is more about, creating connections and, elevating yourself and your business and your products, elevating those in their eyes. So I think that's a really good thing to try to do. One thing every day, one customer every day. Try that. Or maybe once a week, you'll create an email blast that you can send to 10 or 20 or 50 people who are clients of yours. But at least once a week, I want you to be connecting with a customer. If you can do it a little every day or en masse once a week or something like that, that'd be really good for you. Right. And as a part of that, right, for your current customers, one thing that you should do is make it easy for them to share you. And that's, the heart of social media is that people share, they recommend it. When they buy something, they're usually hot about it. Hey, I just bought this. It sounds nice. But if you help them, assist them with something, make sure they do use the product, and they go, I hope you've really enjoyed it. If you have, click here to tweet about it or click here to go to the Facebook page. Please write something nice. So it's not an upsell, but you're asking for a little something, but you've given them some value first, right? So make it easy for people to share you, whatever that looks like, an easy tweet button, or I don't know, if you wrote a little bit in an email that said, give them the idea of a testimonial and say, here, you can use these words and forward it to your friends, or change them as you like and forward it to your friends. That would be great. You write an email that said, I bought Chris's How Do I Play My Guitar video and it changed my life. And he wrote to me today and taught me something I didn't know, and I was going to pass this on to you. You're likely to get that help from somebody if you've given them a little something, not just you showed up randomly 6 weeks later with, please share me. All right. Does that make sense? Was that clear? It was clear in my head.
I thought it was clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, but you speak my language now, so.
Well, it's because of your, infinite wisdom and your tutelage.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that much. But thank you. It's very nice. Yeah.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
It doesn't hurt. It's always very good. And so flatter your customers. Tell them how smart they were for buying your product, right? And the other thing that you can do with your current customers is ask them why they bought, what their problem was, and if it's been solved. If it's not been solved, you can help them solve it, which helps you then tweak your product for next time. And if it has been solved, then they're happy, get a testimonial, right? And so it should be easy to get a testimonial if they go, oh yeah, it's great, I totally love it, it's fantastic, I've been using it for 6 weeks. Cool, can you just write that for me? Or can I write that, what you just said, I'll give it to you for approval, you send it back and I'll use that as a testimonial. They're happy to, if you make it not hard work for them, right? So that's a thing too. Some people will have a formatted survey that you could send to your customers. That's a little less personal. It's a little more impersonal. And people don't like to do that unless you give them some reward or incentive. They usually won't do it. But if you've called them and helped them use the product, or you've emailed them and told them another way to use their product or to remember something about your teaching, then they will they'll feel a little, I hate to say obligated, but there's reciprocity at work. Okay, so check that out. Use that too. Right? Ask them questions about why they did it, and if they got that result, and then you can tweak it or use a testimonial. Cool. Now, the other people that I want you to be in touch with, and again, this could be, make a list of your raving fans who has bought your stuff, that's bought multiple instances or come to many of your events or bought your product a bunch of times. Who already gives you a testimonial? Who do you know that already tweets or puts on Facebook about you and your stuff? Those are your raving fans. Be in contact with them. Make them feel special because they are. They really like you, right? So they are special. Again, make it easy for them to share too, but maybe reward them. And if nothing else, just be in touch. Praise them for doing what they've done and thank them for doing what they've done. If you have a raving fan and you don't acknowledge it, they might soon just turn into a regular old customer, right? And then before you know it, sooner or later, they're just somebody you used to know. Sing that song. No, don't. Yeah, no. We're good, right? But no, and I will put this in quickly here. I'll say it at the end. I get that this sounds like work. This is something to do, right? But I'm asking you to have in your calendar a little tickler for every day. Take 10 minutes. Contact one of your raving fans. That could be an email, it could be a phone call. 10 minutes. But that is a person who's generating referrals for you, testimonials, goodwill, happiness, spreading your name. It's worth 10 minutes every day. Okay? Now the other thing is strategic partners. And I mean people who are networkers, people who are in complementary businesses that for example, if I'm a nutritionist, a complementary person would be a fitness trainer, right? Because we're both serving that same market, but we're not picking each other's pocket. People need both fitness and nutrition in order to feel healthier and better, right? So that's good to work together. Financial advisors and bankers is a good mix, like that. So what type of business is complementary to yours where you share an audience? Reach out to them, be in touch so that you foster those connections better, because maybe one day you have a seminar and you speak and they speak, or you have 3 or 4 people who each do a part and you all share an audience so you can get a bigger audience. You bring your 10 or 20, he brings their 10 or 20, you get 3 or 4 of those, you just met 40 or 50, 60 new people. But you need to foster those relationships. You need to be in touch have a list and pick one every day, or have a Tuesday's connection day. And so you have an hour where you reach out and talk to 5 people, something like that. But you want on average 1 a day, right? If it's 5 a week or whatever. Those strategic connections could be networkers. If you are a big networker and you're out meeting a lot of folks, if somebody refers 2 or 3 people to you, make sure you go out of your way and be in touch with them. Again, praise them for doing it. Thank them for doing it. Get together for lunch. See how you can help them more. Because that action, the reward will maybe make that action happen again. Okay? So your partners could be your vendors and suppliers and stuff. Reach out, be human, real, connect with them. because they're not just a supplier, they're a person who's in their business too. And look, if I have a supplier of pencils to my business and our only interaction is we send I get invoices and I send orders, that's fine. But if some day happens and I'm going to have 1,000 people in and I need 10,000 pencils immediately and I can call them, if we've only been paper friends, they'll do what they can, I'm sure. But if we've also shared time on the phone or had lunch or we have a slightly deeper connection, they're more likely to help you out, even though it's hard to do, right? And so your vendors, your suppliers, your complementary service providers, all of your strategic connections, make sure you're reaching out and connecting to them as people, not just as business to business. I caught myself the other day talking about, someone was asking what I do, and I said, well, for people, like locally I do a 4-week workshop, and then corporate, I do this workshop. That's different. But then you think about it, well, corporate, it's just people too, right? That just happens to be people in a business, right? So don't forget that. We think B2B, right? Business to business, but it's still people to people. It's still one person on the phone talking to another person on the phone, sending an email. So treat them more like people and not just connections, right? These people that you have to work with in this other company. Then a next big one, and I think you should probably do this once a week. This is kind of my average, but it could be more. It depends on what your goals are. But to connect with people in your industry that are either more popular than you, they have a larger audience, they're, however you want to say it, they're a couple of steps ahead of you, right? If I'm making $500,000 a year on my blog and I want to be on the $1 million a year guy's blog, right? Whoever is just a couple of steps ahead of you, you should try to contact them, right? Pick one, at least one person per week, and send an email or send a letter, send an email, an actual letter, and introduce yourself. If you've already introduced yourself, see how you could help. Ask how you can help, or praise them on the work that they did. I'm kind of big on praise. And say, wow, I read that article that you did today. I thought it was really fantastic. I did comment in the blog comments, but I wanted to send you a separate email to say how it personally really affected me. Not lying, not blowing smoke up their ass, as they say, not like that. But if honestly you read something and you thought it was good, then share that. And again, I have this visualization in my head of like spider webs. Every connection is another web. And sooner or later, that's tight. All right? You get enough spider webs, you can't move anymore. That's a bad end to that analogy. But right, every connection I make is just another, little strand of glue that connects us and keeps us closer together. Right? And so that is how, by doing that, without asking for anything, right? Say I'm a popular blogger, and I'm not. But if I played one on TV, if I was getting 10,000 views per day and I was making millions off my website, making millions off 10,000 people, sure, I can do that. And you wanted to be on my blog someday, you wanted to guest blog, or how about this? You wanted me to promote your new DVD, right? If the first time I've ever heard of you is you sending me an email saying, hey, can you help me promote my DVD? The answer is no. Sorry, I'm pretty friendly, but I don't know you from anybody else in the world. I don't know your qualifications. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about it. It's probably no. But if I've seen you commenting in my blog post, answering questions, you've sent me an email or two saying, I like this, and asking me questions. How about this thing? Or would you consider that? Maybe you've offered me a guest blog, whether I used it or not. Here's some content. Maybe you could use it. That's cool. Now, if you come to me and go, hey, I have my program, right? I always tell people about your stuff. Any chance you could help me, recommend this to your list? It's a little more likely now because we've created some connections. So start laying the groundwork now. Start connecting with those people who are a couple of steps ahead of you. Do that now. Do that right away. And then when it is time to need something, they're more likely to be there for you. And again, I know that sounds, it is strategic. It's not manipulative. I'm not saying be fake or false or anything. Only do things that are true for you. If it's a blog post that you really liked, if it is something that you're interested in knowing more about, don't go be a suck up. Don't go be not who you are, right? Do the right thing. But I am telling you, don't wait until it's too late to start making asks. Hey, Chris, can I ask you a really crazy favor?
Sure.
Yeah. Can you grab me Mountain Dew from it's in the freezer?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Can we do that?
Yeah. That's your other unofficial sponsor?
Yeah, it's my unofficial sponsor. And if you can make that happen, I can actually show the label and
sure,
have them send me money. Sorry to, I just forgot, and I'm going to choke to death here because I'm talking. Thanks. All right, now Chris is gone. Let's talk about him. No. So that is connect with people in your industry. Also, that might include like bloggers. Bloggers is easier than the regular media. But if you know a reporter or somebody on the TV, connect with the media or bloggers. Again, not tooting your own horn, not asking for anything, not asking to be featured on something. Just, I liked that bit that you did. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. You staying off video? Very good.
That's my goal, is to stay off camera.
Mountain Dew, the unofficial sponsor of the show, not to be confused with the actual official sponsors. Until the Mountain Dew people pony up, though.
One day.
Thank you very much. I love the blue. Can't get over the blue.
It's a corporate color, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is the corporate color. So connect with those media people in any way you can. Most media people, bloggers and radio people, TV, everybody, they're looking for content. They really are. We think, wow, there's a million things to talk about. Yeah, but they have to fill airtime or page space every single day. And if you can give them something interesting that they haven't seen, then they would like it. The more you do that, the more you get known. When it is time for the ask, you're more likely to get it. Again, try not to sound manipulative here, but it's just the way I work, and I find that it works. I want to connect, and I want to share, and I want to help people because I know it creates stronger bonds. That's the trick of this. Was there other types of people that was strategic connections, industry, media? I do want to say loose connections. Oh, yeah, just have a few minutes left in the show. Since we've gone to half an hour, it's crazy. I have so much to say. In all of those above, in your customers, your raving fans, your strategic partners, and the media and or bloggers and such, thing I want you to do is these two things. Outside of what I've already said, offer them something they can use, plus praise, plus acknowledgement. Promote people as much as you can. Do share, right? That's what social media is about. Do share when somebody you know does something that's nice, that's good, that is worthy. Share it when you can. People will notice that you share. That will help. The other thing that you can do and really should do, and I'm doing right now, this is an example of it. This is me on a radio show. But show yourself in action. Make sure that people, and again, don't force down people's throat. Don't go crazy. But people need to know that you're leading a workshop, that you're having a sale, that you had lunch with the mayor, whatever it is, need to show yourself in action doing your business. One thing that and I'm totally guilty of this myself, but a lot of speakers do this. I see it on Facebook, and they're showing themselves in action. It's good. We just need to be maybe a little better at not being so obvious about this, but I will have a workshop, and I'll come back, and I'll be on Facebook. I'm like, man, workshop! I'm so happy that these people at this bank brought me in today to do this workshop. It was the best thing in the world. Really, all I'm doing is pitching, right? That I do workshops for banks like that. But if you look around, you see a lot of speakers. They're always doing that. I was so happy to be at this chapter of blah 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 today, delivering this great speech, and we're tooting our own horn. So maybe not be obvious like that. But the thing is that do show yourself in action. If you can get other people to put up a picture or a little video clip or a testimonial or something about your event, that's great. That's why when you're at an event, you have a hashtag and you get people to tweet about it, right? So promote others and show yourself in action without being a goof about it, right? Do show yourself in action. And then the last bit is this thing about loose connections, which is all those people I talked to about before. Those would be loose connections for you because they're not like your friends and your family. Those are tight connections. People you see every day, every week, you talk to a lot. Those are tight connections. But the world of business really runs on loose connections. I have a lot of friends that I've met from my networking, and I say they're my friends, right? But you have to get that they're my loose connections friends. They're not people I go to dinner with and our kids hang out together and do stuff, but for example, in one networking group I'm in for 2 years now, I've had lunch with some of these people 50 times, right? I've had lunch with you 50 times. Boy, we're pretty friendly, right? And even though it's a loose connection though, because that's all we do together, right? We might do a little business and we talk, at networking events, but so it's this different level. They're my business friends, right? And occasionally somebody becomes your tight connections that you talk to all the time and you'll share your hopes and your dreams and your sadnesses with. But you do need to create these loose connections, foster them, have lunches, go meet somebody for a coffee, a soda, a Danish, whatever you do. And in that meeting, support their business. How can you help them? They might help you too. But these little soft connections, loose connections are so great for you because they keep you in people's memory. You're more likely to come up when somebody says, who do you know who? It might be you because you've reached out and you have a more personal connection. Because without it, right, you're just a name, right? One of the things I said is you want to make an impact when you meet people at these networking things or anywhere. Because if I hand you my business card and I don't make an impression, right, and we haven't shared and been real humans with each other, then later when you read it, it's just a card. You might not even remember who you got that card from, right? And so I can't say enough about that being real and honest and transparent is about the best thing you can do and connect with people better. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Right? So it's all about being seen as a more real person, and you're not your brand because there is no brand at this level. Okay. And the last bit is just do it, right? Nike has the best slogan in the entire world. It is just do it. It seems like a lot of work. Yes, I'm asking you to make a couple of calls every day or send an email or an email blast or 2 every week. But this is literally the business of your business. This is how you will get more referrals and testimonials and happier customers. Reach out to these people who are in your world, make them feel human and special, and thank them and acknowledge them. The more you do it, the higher in their memory you'll be. It'll be great for you. And so that's my bit today. Make time every day to do at least a couple of these things, right? Your customers, your raving fans, your partners, strategic partners, the media, bloggers, and then any sort of loose connection you can do. All right, we're past our time because I'm a chatty sumbitch, and I curse a little bit, but it's been lovely. Check out Score at PinellesCounty.score.org and the New Urban Suites at newurbansweets.com. My sponsors got a double plug today because I'm over time and I want to keep going because Chris is just dying to push the button. All right, we're going to let you go. We'll see you next week. Actually, before I do that, just one more thing, as Steve Jobs would say. We will be doing the business breakdown series starting in about 2 weeks. I have to talk to my partner Ken Queen about that business breakdown thing. But I will promote that. You'll hear about it more. It's going to be very scary for me and very cool for you. All right. Thanks for paying attention. We'll see you next week. Bye. This has been Straight Up with Toby Martini. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can always find me at tobymartini.com. We'll see you next week. Bye.